भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, Verse 29. तमेवान्वापि दीयन्ते लोको भूरादयस्त्रयः निशयानुमनुवृत्तायां निर्मुक्त शशिभास्करम्.
Hare Krishna. When the night of Brahma ensues, all the three worlds are out of sight, and the sun and the moon are without glare, just as in the due course of an ordinary night.
Verse 30. त्रिलोक्यादयमानायां शक्त्या संकर्षणाग्निनां यान्तुष्मणा महार्लोकाज जनं मृगवायोर्दितः.
The devastation takes place due to the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarsana, and thus great sages like Bhrigu and other inhabitants of Maharloka transfer themselves to Janaloka, being distressed by the warmth of the blazing fire which rages through the three worlds below.
Verse 31. Pavitra bhuvanam sadyah kalpante diti sindhavah plavayantu katatopa chandavate mayah.
At the beginning of the devastation, all the seas overflow, and the hurricane winds blow very violently. Thus, the waves of the seas become ferocious, and in no time at all, the three worlds are full of water.
Verse 32. Antah sa tasmina salila aste nantasano harihi yoga nindra nimilaksha stuya mano janailahi.
The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, lies down in the water on the seat of Ananta with his eyes closed, and the inhabitants of the Janaloka planets offer their glorious praise unto the Lord with folded hands.
Verse 33. Evam vidairaho ratrai kala gatyopalakshitahi apakshitmi vasyapi paramayurvaya shatam.
Thus, the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times in the different planets.
34. Yadharmayu satasya paradharma bidiyate purva paradruka prakanto ya parodya pravartate.
The 100 years of Brahma's life are divided into two parts, the first half and the second half. The first half of the duration of Brahma's life is already over. The second half is now current.
Verse 35. Purvasyado parardasya brahmo nama mahanbhut kalpo yatra bhavat brahma shabda brahmeti yam viduhu.
In the beginning of the first half of Brahma's life, there was a millennium called Brahmakalpa, wherein Lord Brahma appeared. The birth of the Vedas was simultaneous with Brahma's birth.
Verse 36. Tasyeva chante kalpo bhut yam padmam bibishakshate yuddharenar bisaras asli lokarasoruham.
The millennium which followed, the first Brahma millennium, is known as the Padmakalpa, because in that millennium the universal lotus flower grew out of the naval reservoir of water of the personality of Godhead Hari.
Verse 37. Ayam tu kathita kalpo dvityasapi bharat varaha iti vikyato yatra sichu karo harihi.
O descendant of Bharata, the first millennium in the second half of the life of Brahma is also known as the Varaha millennium because the personality of Godhead appeared in that millennium as the hog in the incarnation.
Verse 38. कालोऽयं द्विपराध्यख्यो निमेष उपचर्यते अव्याकृतस्यानन्तस्य या आनन्द जगदात्मनः.
The duration of the two parts of Brahma's life, as above mentioned, is calculated to be equal to 1 nimesha, which is less than a second, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchanging and unlimited and is the cause of all causes of the universe.
Verse 39. कालोऽयं परमावादी द्विपारादान्त ईश्वरः नैवेशितु प्रभुर्भुम्ना ईश्वरो धाम मानिनाम्.
Eternal time is certainly the controller of different dimensions, from that of the atom up to the superdivisions of the duration of Brahma's life. But nevertheless, it is controlled by the Supreme. Time can control only those who are body conscious, even up to the Satyaloka or the other higher planets of the universe.
Verse 40. विकारो विसाहितो युक्ते विषादिभिरावृतः आण्डकोशो बहिरयं 50 विस्तृतः.
This phenomenal material world is expanded to a diameter of 4 billion miles as a combination of 8 material elements transformed into 16 further categories within and without as follows.
Verse 41. दशोत्तराद्रिके यत्र प्रविष्ट परमाणुव्रत लक्ष्यन्ते गतन्ताश्चान्ये कोटिशो य अन्दराशयः.
The layers or elements covering the universe are each 10 times thicker than the one before, and all the universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination.
Verse 42. तदाहुरक्षं ब्रह्म्य ब्रह्म सर्वकारणकारणं विष्णो धर्म परं साक्षात् पुरुषस्य महात्मनः.
Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is therefore said to be the original cause of all causes. Thus, the spiritual abode of Vishnu is eternal without a doubt, and it is also the abode of Mahavishnu, the origin of all manifestations. Hare Krishna, thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my any mistake in pronunciation.
Hare Krishna, really nice. Thank you so much. Jeez. Yeah, I'm just going to share. Yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today we are discussing 3rd Canto, 11th chapter, verses 28 to 32. So, with your permission, I'd like to begin. So 3:11:28. Namo matram upadaya prati samruddha vikrama kalinanu gatashesha aste tushnim dinathyaye. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. At the end of the day, under the insignificant portion of the mode of darkness, the powerful manifestation of the universe merges in the darkness of night. By the influence of eternal time, the innumerable living entities remain merged in that dissolution, and everything is silent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse is an explanation of the night of Brahma, which is the effect of the influence of time in, in touch with an insignificant portion of the modes of material nature and darkness. The dissolution of the three worlds is effected by the incarnation of darkness, Rudra, represented by the fire of eternal time, which blazes over the three worlds. These three worlds are known as Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha, Patal, Martya, and Swarga. The innumerable living entities merge into that dissolution, which appears to be the dropping of the curtain of the scene of the Supreme Lord's energy. And so everything becomes silent. Verse 29. Tamevanva apidhiyante loka bhur adhayastraya nishayam anuvrittayam nirmukta shashi bhaskaram. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. When the night of Brahma ensues, all the three worlds are out of sight, and the sun and the moon are without glare, just as in the due course of an ordinary night. It is understood that the glare of the sun and moon disappear from the sphere of the three worlds, but the sun and the moon themselves do not vanish. They appear in the remaining portion of the universe, which is beyond the sphere of the three worlds. The portion in dissolution remains without sun rays or moon glow. It all remains dark and full of water, and there are indefatigable winds, as explained in the following verse. Verse 30. Trilokyam dahyamanayam saktya shankar shanagnina yanti ushmana maharlokaj janam brigva adyo ardita. Translation. The devastation takes place due to the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarshana, and thus great sages like Bhrigu and other inhabitants of Maharlok transport themselves to Janalok, being distressed by the warmth of the blazing fire, which rages through the three worlds below. Verse 31. Tavat tribhuvanam sadhya kalpante dhita sindhava plavayanti utkata topa chandavateri. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. At the beginning of the devastation, all the seas overflow and hurricane winds blow very violently. Thus, the waves of the seas become ferocious, and in no time, all the three worlds are full of water. Purport, Srila Prabhupada. It is said that the blazing fire from the mouth of Sankarshana rages for 100 years of the demigods, or 36,000 years. Then, for another 36,000 years, there are torrents of rain, accompanied by violent winds and waves, and the seas and oceans overflow. These reactions of 72,000 years are the beginning of the partial devastation of the three worlds. People forget all these devastations of the worlds and think themselves happy in the material progress of civilization. This is called Maya, or that which is not. And the last verse was today, verse 32. Anta satasmin salila aste ananta sanohari yoga nidra nimil laksha stuya mano janalaya. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord, this personality of Godhead, lies down in the water on the seat of Ananta. His eyes closed, and the inhabitants of Janalok planets offer unto the Lord their glorious prayers with folded hands. By Srila Prabhupada. We should not understand the sleeping condition of the Lord to be the same as our sleep. Here, the word Yoga Nidra is specifically mentioned, which indicates that the Lord's sleeping condition is also a manifestation of his internal potency. Whenever the word yoga is used, it should be understood to refer to that which is transcendental. In the transcendental stage, all activities are always present, and they are glorified by the prayers of great sages like Prithu. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namavastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatare Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram. Hare Krishna everyone. I ask for your blessings that I can say something that is useful. As you know, I have got no qualifications, no knowledge, no realization. I'm trying to repeat some things that I've heard from other devotees. Please forgive any offenses or anything that I do or say wrong. And seek your blessings that I can say something useful. So these are fairly sobering verses, but I think the build up to this was Maitreya Rishi has been talking about time to Maharaj Vidur. And the build-up has been from small dimensions of time, and now it is coming to almost day of Brahmaji, Lord Brahma. And in the verses, it talks about how long is the day of Brahma, of Brahma. Anyone wants to talk about how long is, or how many human years is a day of Brahma? Anyone wants to unmute and say? No one?
What was the question?
How long is the day of Lord Brahma? One day in human terms?
100 years, Prabhuji?
100 celestial years? 100
Yeah, it
celestial.
is in our timeline. Of course, life of Lord Brahma in his calculation is 100 years, and we are over 50 years. But like, if you look at it from a human year perspective, one day of Lord Brahma.
Prabhuji, is it 300 trillion
Is
years?
it 4 trillion, 320, thousand,
So,
thousand?
no,
Yes.
Lord Brahma's lifetime is 311 trillion years. I think someone said that. And then
No.
one day of Lord
One day
Brahma
of Brahma is
4.32 billion years.
zero, 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 zero. So
Yeah,
like
4.32 billion years. And one night of Lord Brahma is also 4.32 billion years. So one day of Lord Brahma is 8.64 billion years. I mean, it is so hard to imagine, right? We're talking about billions of years, like human lifetime is maybe, what, 80, 75, 80 years or 100 years. And we're talking about so many zeros, as Mataji was saying. Like, it is such long duration that it is so hard to comprehend. But again, as Krishna gives us both knowledge and forgetfulness, it's good and bad. So yeah, sarvasya chaham hidi sannavishto. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. So we forget, like we have been there eternally, and we've been through whatever half of lifetime of Lord Brahma, which is more than what 155 trillion years already. And this is trillion years, so like adding a few more zeros to it. And during that time, everything is changing. I mean, of course, Krishna says this whole chapter where we are discussing time and the durations of time. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Time I am, Kaloham," and it is in that duration of time we know what happens to all the living entities. We take birth, we grow, we stay, we procreate, we dwindle, and we die. And that cycle is just continuing on and on and on. In these few verses, we also look at that the material creation itself is going through that cycle. Now, we know that there are 14 planetary systems. And in those 14 planetary systems, as in one of the verses, it was said, Bhu Bhuva Swaha. It reminds me of Gayatri Mantra, right? Where we say, Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha. Like, and Bhu Bhuva Swaha, as Srila Prabhupada translated, is Patal, Martya, and Svargalok. And then there are a few top planetary systems, or sorry, within the 14 worlds, within the 3 worlds and the 14 planetary systems, the top few above, like Brahmalok and 2 other planetary systems, they do not go through full or they do not go through devastation. And the loka beyond which there is devastation is still Maharloka. So it is said that in Maharloka there are great sages like Bhrigu Muni and others who go to the Janaloka. And Janalok, Tapalok, and Brahmalok are the three lok which still remain, and everything else below that, below Maharlok and everything below that, is is first burned by the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarshan. So we know Garbhodaksha Vishnu is lying down um, on Sankarshan, and from Sankarshan's mouth, we cannot even imagine how big is that fire that it completely um, decimates those planetary systems. So forget about life on those planetary systems. And if that was not enough, after that, there is proper flooding as it is described in even I think in Bible, right? Noah's Ark. It describes that there is full water and flooding, and we know later Matsya Avatar comes and um, he resurrects, or he protects the Maharaj Satyavata. But anyways, that so there is like during the night time of Lord Brahma, after the day finishes, there is a devastation of all the planetary systems. First um, um, by the fire, then by torrents of rain, and that kind of completely floods the whole material creation below Maharloka and below. And we know that yeah, it is quite sobering. Like even when a person leaves their body, um, um, at least in our tradition, we go and first burn the person's body made up of panchadhatu, and then we take the asthis and we put it in water. It's like that. So it's proper kriya karma of the material creation, where the whole thing is first burned, and then the flooding happens and it finishes. And it is partial devastation during day of Brahma. Of course, there's complete devastation once in the lifetime of Brahma, but partial devastation happens during every day and night of Brahma, which is what we are talking about. Yeah, it is sobering that, and it is also reminding us how important it is that that we take action, because this knowledge is given to us. I mean, what reminded me, and it also is about Maharaj Vidur. We've all heard of the story in Mahabharata when Maharaj Vidur Krishna ultimately, but Maharaj Vidur is the instrument to save the Pandavas from Lakshagre. So we know, like, they knew, or, like Pandavas were invited to stay in a big palace, which was beautiful, but it was made of lark, which is very inflammable in nature. And as they were there, Krishna realizes and then sends Maharaj Vidur with the message to tell them that where you are living, it is very inflammable, and the idea is it will burn one day. So I mean, like that, we also have been told through the medium of Maharaj Vidur that this place where we are living will burn. It's exactly the same message through the same person. what did Pandavas do when they got the message? They said, we need to get going. We need to work. And I think they created tunnel, and they're working hard day and night to make sure that the tunnel is prepared before. So they had the knowledge. We have the knowledge. They worked hard to create the tunnel to get out of that place. For us, the prescribed, tunnel to get out of this place is also being provided by dear Srila Prabhupada, which is, and I think we need to follow a process of sadhana so that we are prepared for when the time will come for us to leave the world. We are prepared to go back. And or there is natural devastation or calamity. I mean, it's so sad. Very recently, we've heard in Myanmar and Thailand, there have been earthquakes. So there's all types of miseries can come anytime. And things can end. So it's are we like Pandavas preparing ourselves well enough to get out of this place? I think the other thought or which came to my mind is actually I'm still sitting in the office, as you can see, and we had His Holiness Keshav Maharaj come to our office for a holy program 2 weeks back. And Maharaj was talking about, this is in the office environment, and Maharaj was very nicely talking about different types of relationships. And I'll connect to this whole episode. Maharaj was talking about there are 4 types of relationships anyone has. First is that is based on fear, bhaya. So one thing is we can be very fearful of this whole devastation which can come anytime, including this body, right, which will eventually be burned and put in water like the flooding. It could be based on fear. So he said there's one type of relationship which is based on bhaya or fear. I think the next type of relationship is based on desire. And he said karma. So again, this is probably I can say my kids, they're not on this phone, like if they want something, and so there's a relationship like, can I have this, can I have that? And we can have the same relationship with the Lord, which is based on order supply. Then the third type of relationship is, he said, is based on duty, which is based on kartavya, which is, like this is our duty. So, like these are parents or these are, or whatever, this is our duty towards, it's said that we all have 5 types of rin. And it's said in the Bhagavad Gita, we've got rin towards various, like our parents, our teachers, our environment, and like various people. And I think out of duty, we may have a relationship. And finally, the relationship which is most supreme is out of love, that we do something out of love. So while in one sense, we know all this, there's some futility in terms of this material world, and we know through these verses, like I think Srila Prabhupada in verse 31 purport, he finishes that as, these reactions of 72,000 years are the beginning of the partial devastation of the 3 worlds. 72,000 years. People forget, we forget all these devastations of the world and think themselves happy in the material progress of civilization. This is Maya, or that which is not. So again, we can be fearful, we can be forgetful, but ultimately, I think what Prabhupada has given us is how do we prepare ourselves for that eventuality which will happen. As Krishna said, he is time, he is creating it all. And establish a relationship of love, which is kind of pinnacle of our relationship with him. But somehow, even though there's carrot and stick and various other things, like we have to realize that where we want to get to is the most supreme relationship. And it does say, the verse say, how some of the residents of the upper planetary systems, so it mentions Brigamuni and all the other residents of Maharloka, and of course in Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka. I mean, they are pure devotees. In any case, we're always thinking and remembering the Lord. And I think we somehow need to get to that stage where we are remembering the Lord, as well as establishing, as His Holiness Keshav Maharaj said, a more loving relationship with the Lord. I think the last verse that we discussed, verse 32, also speaks about the Lord, and the Lord is lying down in the water on the seat of Ananta, his eyes closed, and the inhabitants of Janaloka planets offer unto the Lord their glorious prayers with folded hands. I think Srila Prabhupada in the purport clarifies that Lord's sleeping is different to our sleeping. When we sleep, it is like the condition is like what is of Lord Brahma's sleep, where he starts by saying everything is dark, and we go into like almost mode of partial devastation, which is like we sleep. Whereas the Lord, when he's sleeping, he's in Yoga Nidra, where he's fully aware of what is happening around him. He is the one who is still worshipped in that beautiful form, as Ranganath temple or so many temples. Even in Mana, we have got our sleeping Lord with who is lying down on Ananta, and he's so beautiful. Somehow, we need to pray that we can establish a relationship with him like the inhabitants of Janaloka planet. Yeah, I mean, I think we can talk more, but I'm probably going to just pause there. I mean, anyone has any comments, corrections, anything people would like to add, anything that inspires them or about these verses? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just one question. So we are on a 7th manvantara. So there's a 14th. So is that also comes in a Brahma's day?
Yeah. So Brahma's day, and I'll please others can help me, please, if I'm doing it right or not. So one day of Brahma has got 14 manvantaras, right? And 1,000 cycles of Chaturyuga. Again, Chaturyuga made up of Satyug,
Treta Yuga,
Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga together are, so we know Kali Yuga, where we are in, is 432,000 years. You double it, that is the size of Dwapar, which is 864,000 years. You double it again, you get to, I think, 1.6 million years, and you double it again, 4.32 million years is Satyug. So I think that full cycle, which is about 8.64 million years, is one Chatur Yuga, right? Brahmaji's one day is, as we said, 8.64 billion years. So that is a million years. So 1,000 Chatur Yugas make one day of Lord Brahma. Now, within 1,000 Chatur Yugas is, I think, 7 Manvantaras. And we are in the Chakshusha Manvantara, which is part of the day of Brahma. Please, please, can someone correct me? I need to brush up that. I may have, I'm not 100% sure, but that's my understanding, Mataji. But I can double check and come back to you if that's different.
14 manvantras but in the day, not 7.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Salish Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Right. If not, thank you so much. Please forgive my offenses and any mistakes. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much.
So much.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
For the
Hare
excellent
Krishna.
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Very
It
nice.
was very nice class,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji. Hare Krishna.